One.
What is going on, Oasis?
Happy Thanks morning to you on this November 1st.
It is. Hey, did you know that there is a holiday in November? I didn't know that. Like,
Like another one?
yeah, another one. You know, what is it called?
Is it on Tuesday?
No, it's a Thursday. Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Oh, that one. Who knew? Like, you go straight from Halloween to Christmas. You know, to be fair about that, to be honest, to be fair about it, like, what do you decorate your yard with for Thanksgiving? You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no
Feathers.
fanfare that you throw out. So, like, you put things in your front yard, you put jack-o'-lanterns or whatever. But Thanksgiving,
I think you can put feathers in your front yard.
you can put feathers, I suppose.
Chicken feathers, turkey feathers.
All right, so there's your challenge right there. Decorate for Thanksgiving. First person to send in a picture of you decorating your house with feathers.
Yeah, it's got to have feathers.
It's got to have feathers.
And if you need some, I can gladly give you some.
You got some chickens.
Yep, I learned this the other day. Apparently, chickens wilt,
Yeah.
and I thought a chicken had died. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
what's... I was like, you got a lot of feathers out there, girl. I was like, what's going on?
You're right. So there's the Thanksgiving challenge of be thankful. One, I mean, because thus Thanksgiving, but also decorate your house with some feathers. I
Yeah.
feel like that. And post some pictures. Tag us. Make that happen. That would be so glorious, right? That's some youth stuff right there. You're welcome.
It's time to get adults moving in that
That's
direction.
right. And then we can celebrate Christmas and put some lights up and etc. Unless you are certain families who I noticed on the social media that has already ran up their trees and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need Jesus, but maybe.
Pretty
No,
close.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just serious. I'm not kidding. Oh wait. Hope everybody is doing good. Yesterday we had Discover Oasis. That was really cool. We haven't had one of those in forever.
Yeah.
And just a time to come together and discover, just talk about the church and what we're all about. So if those of you who are watching who have never been through one of those, I want to encourage you guys to do it. Come and check it out. Come and ask the questions, see what the structure of the church, what we believe, and there's probably a lot of people that actually couldn't just say that, you know,
Yeah.
what the church is made of. So come and check that out. And then coming on the end of missions, you know, just a big church-wide push on supporting missions and being missional in our nature. Did you see the video?
I didn't see all of it.
You didn't?
I didn't see all of it. I had a couple of things, couple of media things. Were
Right. Yeah.
Making sure that those monkeys were still swinging.
Yeah, that's such a good call. I'm really excited about it. We're actually going to show it in the youth next week or this coming Sunday, and I'm excited about it because I think a lot of our youth need to. Well, we all do, but just knowing more about sacrificial faith, man, just
Yeah.
going and trusting the Lord.
Individuals that have truly lived it out, and
Yeah.
here's their story. Not them telling I've lived it out. No, others documented it and said
Right.
this person
A
lived it out.
life changed because of the obedience of somebody. That's incredible, right? That's already inspiring.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to show the youth that. All right, so my part, I'm just going to be honest with you as we come in here. There's a lot of times that Ben and I, we prepare and we have time to prepare, and we do, and it's amazing how God lines up what we talk about. We have very little communication with each other before we come in here.
It's practically zero.
It's zero. And I came in hot, like just moments. Like I walked in at time because I was on a meeting, a call that was going on right before this, and bracing for a funeral later on today that I'm a part of, and all that being said is actually probably the roots of this particular talk is, what do we do when things are chaotic in our own life? What do we do when there's tons and tons of things that are to do that all of them need to be done? I don't know if anybody at home is like this, but I will gladly shoulder every burden known to mankind. I will do that.
That dad mule gene is what that is.
Oh man, and that's not. I understand that that's not everyone. Some people have the ability and know and understand the ministry of no, I'm not doing that. It's not really one that I per se have. I can do it. I mean, if it's dumb, then I'm not doing it. But so all of this being said is, man, there's just so busy. We're so busy. We're so tied up. We're so whatever. And it dawned on me that really, even as I was thinking about it during this previous meeting and kind of preparing for this, man, that messes with my peace. It messes with my flow. I find myself in those situations being the least content. Like my heart is going all kinds of different directions. My brain is even going faster and farther than that. And so I was looking at this passage today. In fact, again, it's a funeral, so we can count on Psalm 23 making an appearance, right? Which is such a drag. That's such a strong passage. But
It is.
So this one's actually Psalm chapter 4, and it's verse 7 and 8. And it says, "You put more joy in my heart than they have when their grain and wine abound." Verse 8, "In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." And it was this notion that really kind of hit me, and maybe this is to pass on to everyone else, is, yeah, we do get busy, and we're coming on to a time of the year where it just seems like everything speeds up. Christmas, we have Thanksgiving, we have all these pressures that we put on ourselves and we allow other people to put on us, and they begin to consume us. And I think there's a level of vulnerability and a level of struggle that we have. And I want to encourage everyone, just like this passage, as I have been encouraged, that in verse 8, "In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." And that is a passage that is identical to many others with that the Lord is my rock, He is my refuge, He is any number of things that are these places of safety. And I want to encourage everyone to take this month of thankfulness, but take this month, take the next, when we get done with this, take the next handful of minutes, and be grateful, which I think you're going to talk about. Be grateful, maybe make a list of the things that that you're grateful for, but also maybe start to take an inventory of all the ways that the Lord has sheltered you and is your rock, is your salvation, is your shelter, all of these things. Remember those points in your life where God has been your safety. Because the reality is there's a tendency, I think, inside of all of us to become our own safety. We run up our own walls, we run up our own ways of doing things, and the majority of us, man, we are the hero of our own story. And although noble and well-intentioned, wrong.
Yeah.
That is not how it was intended to be. God is the hero of our story. So let's make a list. Let's stop and think about all the ways that God is moving, and that He is our safety. And maybe in my case only, I don't know, maybe it's just me that I'm talking to at this point, calm the heck down. It's all right, man. Just let God be God. Like the anxieties and the anxious and all of those things that we run up in our own mind, that I run up in my own mind, that I make these gigantic issues, they're really only issues to me. Let's go ahead and let those go. And let God be God, and let Him calm us down, and let Him prioritize what we need to fight with, and just find some peace in Him, find some shade in that tree, and just enjoy Him. And the fellowship and the life that He has for us. So that's maybe my bit.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The calming down. Oh, how our minds get focused and we let it push us and drive us.
Yeah.
And kind of in that same vein, I'm jumping into John 15. I was reading this book, and this book is kind of going through a little bit of discipleship, and it had this pastor had this perspective out of verse 2. And there's only two paths in verse 2 of you are either a branch that doesn't bear fruit or you're a branch that bears fruit. And I was kind of thinking through this of like, okay, this is definitely you're either you believe in God, you trust God, you know Jesus, you've accepted Jesus, or you haven't. Like it's not complicated. There's only two paths to choose when it comes to believing and trusting and knowing and living for God. And the only path that says that you accept Him, it produces fruit. Like it's natural. But this perspective, it takes away the twist that we tend to put on bearing fruit, and love, joy, peace, kindness, and then people try to slip in like happiness because it just sounds the same. And it's one of those elements, and happiness isn't there. It's not in that verse in Galatians 5:22. And so inside this area of producing fruit is definitely in this regard of this hardship that when it says. Later on in that verse, or the other half of it, it says that says this: if you bear fruit and take away, it says that every branch that does not bear fruit, He prunes, and that it may bear much fruit. But so we see this cutting of both. Like if you don't bear fruit, you're thrown into the fire. Like, but if you bear fruit, you're pruned. And so it's this, like what's going on here? Like I see something going away regardless.
Yeah.
One of it's either me or it's something else. And we look at this whole area of pruning, and pruning, it's kind of hard, a little bit painful, not necessarily a pleasant thing to go through. But here's the twist. I think we look at the pruning as things that are negative in our life, which is good because, sin is what separates us. It what keeps us from growing fruit and moving forward. But this pastor gave this perspective. He said the pruning. He's like, it's not the bad things. It's the good things. Like when you actually look at a grapevine when it grows, and he kind of went to the grapeviners. So there's an actual term for them. But anyway, the people who prune the grapes or the prune the vines, they say when a vine grows, it says when it grows and it grows young, it could have up to like 7 or 12 grapes that turn into clusters. He says actually when that happens, they cut it down to 2. And it was like, oh. And they cut it down to 2 because
Consuming too many resources.
it's consuming too many resources. Therefore, the grape it's not luscious. It's not flavorful.
Right.
And so it's kind of that phrase that we all know, but we all shorten it because actually the phrase is longer than what it is, and it's a jack of all trades and master of none, kind of that regard. And that's only half of that. You should go look at the rest of that, but that's a different day. But inside that regard of it being young, it's kind of that point of I'm looking at my son and his life and going, okay, there's a lot of good things that we could do. There's a lot of fun things we could get him involved in. But what are we going to allow to fall off the table and instill in him in these foundational things that are going to allow him to flourish into a man, a future father? And so this is very much hitting in me of okay, I get this. Although all the other accolades are good, but when it comes to the pruning, sometimes it's the reality of God asking us to let go of something else that is good inside of our life. And sometimes He doesn't ask. Sometimes He takes it away regardless. It could be a loved one. And then maybe He asks when it's your job. When we get to that point of Him going, okay, you're even producing fruit at this moment. The pastor makes this position. You're a vine. You've produced fruit. Like you're at the beginning stages of fruit. But He prunes because the next verse it says, so you can produce more fruit. And so there's 3 elements that Jesus mentions. There's those who produce fruit, those who produce more fruit, and those who produce much fruit. And so inside this regard of us holding on to what is good and identifying what is good, I think in this month that turns into social Thanksgiving awareness month on your media feeds. We look at what we're thankful for because what's been given to us rather than what could also be coming to us. We're thankful for Jesus because of what is coming to us and what He has done, what we've already been given. But when we move into what is coming, that gives us an action that actually allows us to give. And because I think so much of giving thanks, we hold on to it as just an expression of a song or expression of what was done, but it's something that we can also build towards. And I think that's when we short-side Thanksgiving, and especially our faith of God moving and using us inside of us, not being able to let go of some of those fruit that they are good, but
I think that's something that's overlooked. That that in some way the pruning process, I appreciate you bringing that up, how it being negative, and sometimes that makes the vine dresser.
That's what I was looking for.
Was that it? Okay. I just totally made that up. I just went with it. Makes that in a negative context, but it's in the best interest of the vine, the vineyard, and really everything to have that guidance. You want to know something crazy? So we didn't talk about it. We started this whole thing with just now with no real contact with it, and you started talking about this vine. 10 minutes ago, a dude started talking about this, and he said that one of the things that a vine does, a grapevine does on its own, when that vine starts to grow, it has a tendency to not grow up. It grows out and down, trying to self-root. And then once it self-roots, it actually begins to decrease fruit production.
Yeah, and it dies faster.
Yeah. So how incredible is it that we have a vine dresser that has our best interest in mind, that is willing to prune, that is willing to put us through some hurt, that is willing to guide us in a direction maybe we don't always want to go, but it's not just for us. It is for the good of the vineyard. It's for the good of the production. It's for the good of us. So why would we be thankful in that? Because it's bigger than us, because there's a plan, you know? How incredible is that, right?
Yeah. And this kind of, I was trying to look for the verse, but it's in verse 5, and I forget which one of the words, but the same passage that I was reading earlier from this pastor, one of the Greek words in verse 5, I'm sorry, I can't remember which one it is, but actually means to lift up.
Yeah.
You know, as the vine dresser comes and says, oh, you're heading downward towards the ground where you will soil yourself,
right,
you know, essentially, and lift up so that it stays in the sunlight. So it stays in the path of the sun.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those things where we don't realize it, that it feels painful, but it's really God lifting us up to elevate us to what he could truly produce out of our life, and that sparking life in someone else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Guys, it was so good to see everyone. And I love this. I love these interactions when God brings his word together like this. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of what we do here on Mondays, and but more importantly, thank you for being a part of what we do here as a church. And this is a really an example of the vineyard. It is bigger than just us, and just kind of God moving us through a process of glorifying himself through us.
Yeah.
So let's just take a little bit of time, make our lists. Let's be thankful that God uses us and addresses us. So, guys, we love you, and thanks for joining us.
Enjoy your lunch.
See ya.